Welcome to Booming Your Bottom Line, a weekly podcast on how to find, serve, and keep local boomer consumers as your customers. If you are a small business owner, then this podcast is for you. Hosted by Mark Hager, CEO of Age in Place Networks, publisher of AgeInPlace.com, and expert consultant in the boomer consumer industry. And Aaron Murphy, architect, certified Aging in Place specialist, national speaker, and published author on Aging in Place. These two small business owners are going to help you learn what you need to know and step-by-step what you need to do to grow your company through serving the rapidly growing older consumer niche. Now, get ready to supercharge your business.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Booming Your Bottom Line. We've got another episode full of great information you can start using today to help you grow your business. Mark Hager's here as well. He's my co-host. We're on week 2 out of 3 in a series about knowing your customer. So get your notepads out. We're going to dive right in. Mark, can you do a quick recap for us from last week on the first part of the series?
Sure. Last week we talked about why you need to know your customers. Now, some of the big reasons for that are increasing your opportunities for new sales, also growing your referrals, and very importantly, using that information to create experiences that makes them want to come back. Now, by using that information to create these experiences, they're not only getting that better customer service and having things more the way that they want them or in a way that is more pleasing to them, but those experiences mean you don't have to focus as much on price. We covered a little bit about what you need to know about them and a little bit about how you can start learning about them. Now, this week we're going to dive a little bit deeper into start learning about them.
Right. So last week we talked about how to start your research, right? Getting city, county population data, including the forecasting that's done for you locally in the area that you do business. At a broader scale, just understanding the boomer consumer and those other demographics, you can use the U.S. Census Bureau. 2010 data is out. They do that every 10 years, I think, and so the current data is 2010. Again, locally, talking to your Chamber of Commerce or your Economic Development Alliance, or they have data on housing and jobs and income levels by zip code and all that stuff. So there's a lot of info online available and to you locally available. And we have a few examples that'll get you started. We put the links for the post on this podcast so that you can get those easier. A great place to start is that U.S. Census website, population estimation and metropolitan areas if you're in a larger city. The Administration for Community Living has some great resources, and that's based on census projections. Also at the U.S. Census, the baby boom cohort in the U.S., 2012 to 2060, that report goes into more detail about how the aging boomers are going to affect change in the United States. So that's a great one.
Yeah, it is. Now, one of the best ways to get specific information about your specific customers, not just general data about the baby boomers themselves, is to ask them.
Right. So now we're going to take you inside your own business. Now, asking isn't always easy or convenient. It takes effort. And it does need to become a habit with you and your sales staff and whoever you have in the store or providing your services. So the information you can gather and glean from this effort specific to your customers can be an absolute gold mine. You might get a little bit anxious thinking about asking customers what they really think about your business.
Yeah.
But don't let that dissuade you from doing it. You need to know, right? And I think as a business owner that having the guts and the wherewithal to say, hey, what are we doing right? What do we need to help you with? You're showing caring. You're showing that you care about their customer experience. And the more that you do this gently and politely, the more honest they're going to get with you over time. And that's critical.
Oh, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the when, how, and where to ask. I mean, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. The absolute best way is to ask face to face. You know, whether it's in the store or when you're doing deliveries or service calls, or even when you're out and about, maybe at local events or something like that. You know, this is a great way to continue to build that relationship with your customers. You can also, do phone calls. Now, there's a lot of people who may think that phone calls are, it's an interruption or whatever, but I'm telling you that as a business owner, if you call up a customer, especially an older customer, and you say, hey, this is Bill from company X, and we know you were in last week, and I just want to make sure you found everything that you needed, or if everything went okay, and use that as a lead-in to asking them more about not just that one experience, but their overall experience with your company. You can also use surveys, and they can be done the same way you do the face-to-face, but with surveys, you can also do them in mailings, although your return rate is going to be much lower. You could also use your website, or if you have a newsletter list, you could send the surveys, a link to a survey, out with your newsletter. Right. There are a myriad of ways you can ask. The most important thing, and I cannot stress this enough, and it goes back just to what you were saying before about asking in a considerate and a respectful way, is that when you ask, when you actually start getting into the nitty-gritty of how we are doing, you've got to do it in a way that is not inconvenient for them. If it's inconvenient, it's going to fail. Every effort that you put into that particular portion of asking them is going to fail. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why doing it in person is so important. It not only shows you care, but it also plants that seed that you care. So when you are exercising these other avenues of asking them, they already know that you care, and it's going to make them feel more inclined to give you what you're asking for.
Absolutely.
And they're going to trust you enough to be a little bit more honest.
Absolutely. Yep. So what are we going to ask then? That's probably where, someone as a business owner, where their brain's going. So you're going to want to develop your own questions in relationship to your business, but we've got some ideas to get you started on this. Remember, you're not doing it to find out a bunch of data like a typical survey. You've already done that homework. This is a client discovery mission for you. Your goal is to find out how you're doing, where you might not be doing well, and what else you can do. You remember, Mark, I think in the beginning I talked about when you introduced me as your co-host, I mentioned that we had done a national podcast on the boomer consumer at Empowering the Mature Mind back then. And, the equation, the way I see it is, trust and rapport, trust plus rapport times time is where you're creating that valuable experience. Yep. So you got to have the guts. You got to just come up and, regardless of format, let's pretend this is a face-to-face. How are we doing? Has anything happened to you in this visit or another visit that, you think we're doing well or that we can improve on?
Right. And you can also ask about how your products and services are meeting their needs. Do we carry the things that you need, or what else could we carry that would, make life easier for you? Adding that tail end phrase of make your life easier or whatever you choose, it shows that you have empathy for them in their lives. Do you feel like you can ask for assistance when you're in the store, or do you have trouble finding someone when you need assistance? Mm-hmm. That's very, very important, especially with the older consumers.
Right. And especially as transportation challenges come about for the particular demographic, should we have a home delivery service? Would it be easier if we coordinated with you? Because remember, they will pay for value. It's not all about saving money for them, like it might have been in your 20s or 30s when you're pinching pennies and paycheck to paycheck. So, if it's, like you said, about convenience, if we brought something home or if we carried this out to your car, should we staff up so that you never have to unload your own shopping cart? Right? Those are things that you want to adjust to. And the whole idea of surveying a bird in the hand, right? They're already there. Those are the people you want talking about their experience in your store.
Yeah, because you want to keep them.
Absolutely. And you want them talking about you
Oh, yeah.
in a positive light. So another really important part about finding out about them is watching what happens during their visit of your place of business. You'll need to do this at first on your own as the owner and walk your floor. Let's stick with the grocery or someone that's selling product, okay? Can older consumers reach all your product? I know out here Walgreens has a specific, or Bartell's has a specific rule about the height of their shelves, right? You can see across the whole store. Certain business models, I think, are thinking more about this than others. So are you? Are they wandering around? You don't want to look like a stalker, right? But you do want to be paying attention and see, are they spending more time in the store than they need to? Because it's confusing. Gosh, maybe your fonts are too small on your signs. There are all sorts of things to be paying attention to figure out if interacting with you is convenient and easy to understand. So, or if you visit homes, is the attention to detail being given to your customer when you're doing a home visit, or are things being overlooked? So you're going to have to do some legwork on this as the owner, right? And shadow staff and do some things like that, but this is going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, you have to watch. I mean, really look and let what you're seeing sink into your mind. There's so much that you can learn out of doing that regularly. Now, there's a lot of information that you don't know as a business owner. I mean, we're all in that situation. And some of that information is going to be different from business to business, Now, most often it's going to be connected to, in this light, it's going to be connected to, your people and how they're interacting with your customers, or it's going to be, them being able to find the stuff that they need or get to the things that they need. Those types of things are generalized for just about every business, but there's going to be stuff that's going to be specific to yours. You probably have a good idea of where you're doing really well. And you might have an idea of where you might be falling down some. But the crucial part is what's in between that. Most of your customers have the same experience. Some of them are going to have an awesome experience. Some of them are going to have a poor experience. But these numbers are much smaller. You want to find out what's in the middle so you can push everyone towards the positive extreme. That's what these efforts are about.
Yeah, good point. So now you've done this research and you've gathered general information about your target customer. Now you've talked with them, you're doing surveying with them in some format with some of your actual customers. Now this is where it gets fun. You're going to combine all this information that you found so far, and we want you to start to create a picture, if you will, of who that customer is in a sense of your client.
Exactly. So like an example, and I mean, obviously I'm not giving you a visual example, but an example would be, you have a customer, we'll call her Mary, and she's 72 and her husband is 74, and they both have health problems. Her husband is confined to a wheelchair, so he never comes to your office or your business or whatever. They have a pretty good income, but they have specific problems physically. Her, for example, since she's the one that visits the store most of the time, she drives to your store, but what you didn't know was that she's not supposed to drive. Her doctor told her she's not supposed to, but she does anyway because she doesn't have anybody that she can count on to take her to the store or her doctor's appointments or whatever. They've got, pretty good income, and they can afford to buy whatever they want. There are some things that she could buy from you that she doesn't because there's a store closer to her where she can get some of that everyday shopping, or there's a specific item that she needs that you don't carry. And in terms of her home, she has a home, and it's 35 years old, and they don't get around in it too well. They mainly stay on the main floor because they can't go upstairs anymore or downstairs or whatever, and they have to have people that come in and do certain things. They have a neighbor kid that mows the lawn for them, and the house is getting old, so they have to have regular work done on it, and that's a strain on them. because they have to coordinate all that. And some of this information may not seem like it's for you or for your company, but it is, because it gives you an idea of what their life is like. It gives you an understanding of how they are living their life day to day. And what that does, and we're going to talk about this some more later, but what that does is that gives you insight into how you can do what you're doing better, to make sure that they're coming back, to make sure that instead of going to that other store, she's driving the extra mile to come to yours.
Right.
But also it's going to inform other things that you can do that are going to increase your bottom line. And we're going to talk about that a lot more, not only in this episode but in future episodes.
You bet.
Now all of this stuff that we've been talking about how you can get to know more about your customer, it doesn't have to suck up all your time. And the information that you gather does not have to be perfect. Remember, this is all about you learning about them so you can do what you're doing better and also use that information to grow with. All of the things we've talked about are valid ways for you to find out this information, and it's going to help you form that picture of who they are, what their lives are like, and those ideas that you can use later to grow your business. It's going to help you to come up with those ideas, I promise. It may not make total sense right now, but as we get further on into these teaching sessions and you hear some of the information that we're going to talk about and the steps that we're going to break down for you, you're going to see how you're going to be able to develop products or services that are more important to them in their daily lives, and thereby make you more important to them in their daily lives.
For sure. And I'm going to go off script for just a second and point out that something we are going to want to talk about in the future too, which is business cross collaboration and the networking that happens when you start collecting this data. You're going to find out that, gosh, if you could recommend a gutter guy or a dog walker or again, now you're integrated in the community, you're providing valuable advice, and now you got businesses referring to each other, and that's for all of our benefit. We'll talk about that in another episode, but yeah, good points, and that's what took me there. So if we piqued your interest about knowing your customer, we put together a free action guide for you. What we want you to do is head over to ageandplace.com/small business, sign up for the newsletter, and we'll go ahead and send you a link to that action guide. If you've already signed up, we'll get a link out to all of you the day that this episode goes live. So now let's break down, in that guide, okay, we're going to break down some of the information we've been talking about in the last 2 episodes, this week and last, and we're going to talk about it more in the next episode. So it's got a lot more tips and getting that information to you and getting information from your customers. We got examples of that and what's called personas, customer snapshot ideas, like Mark tried to explain one of those today, right? We got a couple more of those to just think about who that person might be that's in your store or getting services from you. We want to make that available to you and help you get started down this path. We promised you we would have actionable items every week. And so we want to get some of these important ideas out to you that'll help you grow. We want to grow your customer base. We want to grow the conversations about your business in a positive light, which will grow your income. I mean, that is a big part of it, right? The goal of being here and listening to us is to get something out of our conversation. So go ahead and go over to ageandplace.com so you can take care of your small business and get your hands on that free guide by signing up. Go ahead and go to ageandplace.com.
All right, so we're going to stop here today.
Small business. Get your hands on that free guide.
I want to thank you for your time and attention. We love being able to bring ideas to the table that can help you on your business journey. We love hearing from folks about the value that they get on the insights that we share. And just as a reminder, if you want to get even more valuable information, if you're ready to say that 2015 is going to be the year that you're going to take control of your business, and you want to start the habit of growth that's going to help you realize your dreams, and one of the whole reasons you even started your business in the first place, I want to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. We are going to stay true to what we committed to at first, and that is real information in a very concise format with actionable items that you can do step by step to help you along this journey.
Right.
And if you're enjoying this episode, I ask that you go to iTunes, search for Booming Your Bottom Line, and give us a 5-star review. Not only does that encourage us to keep creating this free content for you, it's also going to help raise the rating of it so other people can find it in search as well.
Awesome.
And if you don't mind, you could tweet us or post on Facebook too.
Absolutely.
So have a great week, everybody. Be well, be blessed, and boom your bottom line. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks so much for listening to Booming Your Bottom Line with Mark Hager and Aaron Murphy. To learn more about starting, building, and growing a local business that profits in the older consumer niche, just visit the website at agentplace.com/smallbusiness. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can email us at smallbusiness@agentplace.com. Fill out the contact form on the website or give us a ring at 865-236-1247. Booming Your Bottom Line is a joint venture of agentplace.com and empowering the mature mind.